Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast, episode number 158. Kelvin Wilcox and Vapple, the science behind quality attractants, scent, flavor, and fillers. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible. Today's show is sponsored by Morse's Sporting Goods. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
Hi, I'm Jim Shockey, and you're about to listen to my favorite podcast, Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast.
Hey, this is Kyle Rosner from Back to the Outdoors, and you're listening to my favorite podcast, the Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast.
Hi, this is Shane Mahoney from Conservation Visions Incorporated, and I'm listening now to one of my favorite hunting podcasts, Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast. My name is Jay, and you know what? I am grinning ear to ear because I know you just pushed that play button on your audio device. Not sure what it is. Might be a phone, might be a computer, maybe you're in your truck or Jeep going up a mountainside, checking out some beautiful views somewhere. But you know what? I am psyched that you're here, right now with me to listen to another amazing episode as we try to bring you great content each and every week on the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast, powered by USA Trail Cams. My good friend and co-host of the show from Ohio is with us, and let's check in with Dusty. Dusty, what's going on?
It's raining here in Ohio, Jay. We need a little rain, and it's another day close to the whitetail season.
Well, dang. Why is it raining in Ohio?
It's just the way Mother Nature played the cards today.
Gotcha. Well, it's we need that throughout the year. You know, it's always a good thing. I don't complain when it shows up one bit. So how's haying season going?
We're cutting second round.
Okay.
Maybe going to get a third cut on some places.
Gotcha. Very nice.
It's been busy, but that's the way making hay goes. You got to make hay when the sun shines.
Very nice. So I was doing some videography this week of a sandhill crane. I don't know if you saw the video I posted on my podcast. It is kind of crazy. This crane just started hanging out in this field and walking around, kind of like a blue heron would in a swamp or a watered down area, you know.
Right.
But it was walking around the field. And that's not something we normally see here in New Hampshire. And everybody's been stopping, pulling out their computers and trying to identify whatever the heck this bird was. I confirmed it was a sandhill crane, and I took some video of it. It's actually a pretty neat bird. It has a red head on it. But it's very rare to show up anywhere in New England.
Oh, good.
They do show up, but they're just not here. It's very unusual. So not sure what's going on, but it was kind of neat. And it was very attracted to that field. Whatever is in that field, it won't leave. You know, the farmer comes in, does a little row of hay, but the crane will be right back in there eating and feeding on whatever's in there. So that was kind of neat.
It's probably eating ticks, if I had to guess.
Ticks, yeah, possibly. Although there was something it grabbed onto and had to chew hard. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe a big grasshopper.
Right.
Kind of neat. But it clearly is attracted to this field. And we're talking about attractants in this show today with our special guest, Kelvin Wilcox from Vapple. And yes, I said the word Vapple, V-A-P-P-L-E, like apple, but with a V. And when we were first introduced to this term, it was with Josh Carney, the son of the South, and we were like, what did he just say?
Right.
I don't know what this is. I've never heard of it. Vapple? Did he say apple? I don't know what he said.
Apple? Apple? Right. Vapple apple?
Vapple? What the heck's a Vapple? Well, it turns out there's this company called Vapple, and we kind of dug into it because Josh swears by it. He was killing some big deer around it, and the guy that's behind the whole thing is a very interesting guy, and he's a hunter first and foremost, and he developed this product that has this vanilla apple persimmon smell. And he's applied it in various components and products that he's created. And the science behind it is actually fascinating, and I can see why this is doing well and why other attractants might not do so well, because they're not really thinking it through as much. They're really just throwing a bunch of stuff in a bag and putting a sticker on it. Vapple goes beyond that. So we asked Kelvin to join us and talk more about the science of attractants, and he breaks down his entire product line for us and tells us how it all developed. So if you've never heard of Vapple and you want to hear some very interesting information about how these products develop, and especially how Kelvin developed his products, then this is a show for you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But before we get to Kelvin, Jay, let's go to Jim Keller with the Deer News.
For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the Deer News. In our first story this week, the ATA announces new policies for press attendees at the trade show. Solicitors, posing as members of the press, have long been a source of frustration for the companies doing business at the ATA trade show. In order to address this issue, the ATA Board of Directors has adopted new guidelines for press badges. Beginning with the 2017 ATA trade show, press members planning to attend must register in advance and pay a badge fee under the new guidelines. Attendees requesting a press badge for the show must register between October 25th and December 22nd this fall. On-site registration by press attendees and/or journalists will not be allowed. Press attendees will be charged $100 if their company or organization has an ATA media membership and $150 for non-member verified press. All press badge applications will be subject to verification by the ATA staff, and ATA reserves the right to reject press badge applications that cannot be verified. The ATA board expects advanced registration to reduce on-site demand for staff members whose primary obligation is helping exhibitors and retailers conduct business at the show. The two changes were proposed by the ATA board of directors during its April meeting. House approves bill to cease federal protection of gray wolf. This article was originally reported by Joe Albert on fieldandstream.com. Last week, the House of Representatives approved an amendment to the $32 billion appropriation bill for funding government agencies, such as the Department of the Interior. The measure also takes aim at the gray wolf's federal protection status. On several occasions, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has attempted to remove the gray wolf from the Endangered Species Act protection, claiming that the species has fully recovered after having once been on the brink of extinction. But lawsuits from opponents have long stymied the efforts. The new measure, however, prohibits the use of funds by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Department of Interior to treat any gray wolf in the 48 contiguous states as an endangered or threatened species under the Endangered Species Act after June 13, 2017. Representative Dan Newhouse from Washington said the amendment does not delist the gray wolf, but encourages U.S. Fish and Wildlife to forward with its own proposed listing. The removal of the gray wolf was added to the bill by Newhouse, as well as Greg Walden from Oregon and Kathy McMorris Rogers of Washington. The measure must still pass the Senate to take effect. Should it become law, gray wolf management will be left to the discretion of the states. Mild winter, large deer populations prompt increased hunting permits in 3 northeastern states. This article was originally reported by Hillary Ribbons on OutdoorLife.com. The Northeast mild winter might pay off for northern New England deer hunters this coming season. Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire all have plans to increase the number of hunting permits issued for the coming season, the Associated Press reports. More deer than average survived the light winter, and wildlife regulators across the 3 states are upping permits to help keep the population at a healthy. Maine's proposed deer permits are up 60% this year over last year, according to Maine's Department of Fisheries and Wildlife, raising the any deer permit number to more than 45,000. Vermont has doubled the number of permits issued in 2015, granting 18,000 antlerless permits for the 2016 season, according to Vermont Fish and Wildlife. New Hampshire also plans to increase permits for the southeastern part of the state from 500 to 750, according to the New Hampshire Fish and Game. We'll have to stay tuned to see if Jay comments on seeing more deer this year. Amendments on Defense Bill take aim at national public land again. This article was originally reported by Bob Marshall on fieldandstream.com. When he said, "It ain't over till it's over," the great American philosopher Yogi Berra was talking about baseball. But he could have been talking about the effort sportsmen have to exercise when protecting fish and wildlife habitat for current Congress. The latest examples are the ongoing attempts to transfer our federal public lands to state and private ownership, and the survival of an important program to protect sage grouse. Sportsmen have achieved some important victories on both issues, but the bad guys never stop swinging, which means it's time to log on to your email accounts and keep fighting, because as you will see, these 2 fights still ain't over. The first issue pertains to sage grouse. An unprecedented coalition of landowners, state and federal agencies, and conservation groups have been working together on habitat restoration to keep the iconic western game bird from being listed as threatened or endangered. But a group of mostly Western GOP House members don't like that idea, mainly because because they want the states to control this issue. Their way to stop the good work are amendments they tacked on to the National Defense Authorization Act, which keeps our military funded and really has nothing to do with the sage grouse. Meanwhile, the Senate has stepped forward with its own version of national defense, and it has none of these sage grouse amendments, thanks to a bipartisan effort to keep the focus on men-at-arms and not birds in the field. Now the two houses get together to hammer out the differences. And that means it's time for sportsmen to send strong messages to their congressional delegations telling them you are watching and want a clean defense bill without any mentions of sage grouse. The next issue is federal public lands. Every time you think the public land issue is dead due to the strong opposition to the idea, some members bring it up again. That happened recently when the House Natural Resources Committee sent a bill to the floor with two measures that would clear the way for the transfer of millions of acres of our lands to the states. Anyone who uses federal lands, such as national forests and BLM property, need to send an urgent email to their House delegations opposing the National Forest Management Act, H.R. 3650, and the Self-Sufficient Community Lands Act, H.R. 2316, both of which would convey federal lands to states. If these sound familiar, it's because they were thought to be dead several times in the past, but as Yogi Berra says, it ain't over till it's over, and it obviously ain't over yet. For a link to the article to get the phone numbers and email addresses of your senators and representatives, please check our show notes or check out the actual article on fieldandstream.com. That concludes this week's edition of the Big Buck Registry's Deer News. If you have any ideas for future topics or have questions about any of these topics, please email me at jim@bigbuckregistry.com. For the Big Buck Registry, this is Jim Keller with the Deer News.
Thanks to Jim Keller for the Deer News. And without further ado, here is Kelvin Wilcox from Vapple. Kelvin Wilcox, welcome to the Big Buck Registry's Deer Hunting Podcast. How are you, my friend?
Hey, guys. I'm doing great.
Excellent. Excellent. So where are you at right now, Kelvin?
Right now, we're sitting in my office in my house, and we just got through working at the shop all day trying to get together some products. So it's been a long one. How about you guys? Y'all been going at it hard?
Yeah. I'll let Dusty explain what he's been doing, but yeah, I've been editing most of the day and trying to figure out who we're going to bring up next on the show, and along comes Vapple. I've been looking forward to this one because we learned about you guys a long time ago, like 2 years ago, when we talked to Josh Carney, and he said this word to me. He said, I use Vapple, and I thought he stuttered. I thought he said apple. It's like, what, Vapple? He goes, yeah, Vapple, man. You never heard of it? I said, I haven't, but just the name alone captured my attention. Yeah,
it's been called Vapple, Vapor. It's been called a lot of things, and but first of all, thank you guys for asking me to come on. And I'm humbled to be a part of your show. But yeah, going back, it's been called a lot of things, and it's pretty unique how it come about. Actually, we started out with vanilla flavor and apple, and we're sitting in camp one night in Kansas, and this is before we even decided to take it to the shelves and sell it. Actually, we were going to just keep it to ourselves, but it worked so well that first hunting trip with about 5 guys, and so we sitting around the house one night, and about 2:00 at night, a buddy of mine just screams out Vapple, and it woke me up, and that was it. It stuck. So since then, of course, we've added other flavors, but yeah, I think it's a pretty cool name.
It is. So it started out as vanilla apple Vapple. It's perfect. And I when you sent me some product to take a look at, and I sprayed some of that in my kitchen.
Right.
I took a whiff, and I was like, wow, now I get it. I totally understand. And I yelled to my wife, come smell this. And when I say those words to my wife, that's the last thing she really wants to come do is anywhere close to me.
Come smell this.
Come
Is that
smell
really
this.
what you said?
Yeah. No, I said, no, you're going to like this one. This one's good. So she came over and she said, man, that smells delicious. So great job with the name. Great job with the smell. I assume you sent me one of the original flavors and smells, but awesome product. And the reason we have you on the show is I want to learn more about where this came from, how it developed, the purpose, how to use this stuff, because I got a feeling that this stuff is about to go big. I think more and more people are going to hear about it, and it's right up our alley because it's about attracting deer for deer hunting, and it seems like you guys know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, here in the last year, actually, since the ATA show, this is our 4th year. And the first 3 years were great. We were blessed to have what we had, but we decided this year to we're going to go ahead and jump in deep. And we brought along my son, who is now helping also outside sales, and my son-in-law Jay is over dealer sales, and we're at the point now to where we know we got a great product, we've got great reviews, and we're at the point now that we're going, because we got some interest. When we got some calls this year, that was really humbled to get those calls from people who are big names in the industry and also big box stores. So we're getting out there, Jay, and I'm just excited for the future. So
me too. The stuff smells so darn good, and when my wife says, "Yeah, 2 thumbs up," you've got something good.
Well, look, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in while you're talking about that.
Sure.
I got to share this with you before I forget. But one of the coolest things, we was in deer camp last fall in Missouri, and was fortunate enough to hunt with the buck commander guys out there, and there's about 8 head of us in deer camp, and only 1 toilet. So if you can imagine, that was a pretty rough scene. But Mike Miller, the turkey killer, who is Alan LaRoche's camera guy, he's there with us, and so he decides to spray the toilet with apple flavor, and lo and behold, it's like a blessing. It was just so nice and peaceful when you walked in there after Langerhans left the toilet. So we found a new purpose for Vapple, needless to say.
I can't say it hasn't found its way to my bathroom as well.
There's stuff called poopery. It might call it Vapory. I don't know. So
yeah, well, we've run out of the poopery, so now we're using Vapple.
Yeah. I know we're getting off track here.
I know we're getting off track. That might make
Put that in a little aerosol can, and
yeah.
I tell you what, most guys appreciate after a wife get done.
Yeah, I know. We get air freshener in the vehicle. I mean, it's been used for so many things. People's told me it's ridiculous, but
it's a very versatile smell, and it smells really good. My wife's a chef, so she gets anything that smells good, smells like Vapple. That's a good seal of approval right there.
Well, I appreciate that.
Cool, Kelvin. Tell me a little bit about yourself. You said was it Georgia is where you're at right now?
Yeah, we're in southeast Georgia,
Okay.
a town called Hazelhurst, Georgia.
Gotcha.
We're really a small town, and we're about an hour and a half from Savannah.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
Here in this town.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was born and raised here.
Born and raised. And
Well, you've heard, we live about 6 miles from where the world record largemouth bass was caught. So it sort of gives you perspective of the Okmulgee River and where we're at.
Okay. Well, tell me about growing up. What got you in? Were there influences growing up that got you into this career business?
Well, I can tell you, since I could walk that I can remember, there was times I can think when I wasn't walking, but when Dad took me hunting. I mean, all my life I've hunted. We grew up on the river. We hunted and fished with every chance we got. And I remember at a young age, my father, we always, before daylight, would get on a sandbar and build a fire and create that smoke. And Daddy taught me back then about scent cover. And even a couple of times I remember, which was pretty ironic how it's all made a turn here. But back then, even the old timers they used vanillin as a cover scent and as well as an attractant. So, and here we are, 40-something years later, and vanilla was one of my flavors that we started this company. But yeah, Jay, I mean, I grew up in the woods. Deer hunting's always been a passion of mine. The last 12 years, all I've done is bow hunt. I'm just, I love to be in a tree stand. So, and that's actually in the last going on 16 years now, I've been fortunate enough to hunt Kansas, and I used to hunt it quite a bit. And I mean that my wife. There was times where I didn't know if I can come home or not, and she'd be here, but I'd be gone about a month out there in November, and that's actually where we created Vapple, and I was able to spend a lot of time observing deer, how they react to it, and I failed for 2 years at it, which was great because it allowed me to really examine and to really study how deer react to what we got. But yes, sir, I've been blessed all my life when it comes to the outdoors.
Very nice. It's something that I treasure as well. Now, you relate some of this development back to the vanillin cover scent that they used way back.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about that? Like, how did they apply it, and how did it I mean, it must have stuck in your head as you were.
Yeah, it did. I mean, that's, and I can tell you later, I'm sitting in a tree stand back in 2010, and what I'm fixing to tell you came to my mind. But back then, I remember that we used to get it in these brown-looking glass bottles. I don't remember if y'all remember those bottles. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the name now, but we used to put it on our boots and just pour it on our legs and rub it on us, Right. And that's basically what we did to cover our scent. And, we had great success. If people around these parts know, my father back in the day was one of the best deer hunters in this county, because he did kill a lot of deer. And due to the fact, I believe some of that success was from some of the practices he did when it comes to scent cover.
Okay. So it started out as a scent cover before it actually became Vapple of any sort, and it wasn't even that it had developed into the product that it is today, but it was in the back of your head that the vanillin has to be incorporated into this somehow. Now, I use, actually, the very first deer that I killed with a bow was off of a vanilla spray. And it was just regular old vanilla, and I put in a spray bottle, and I was spraying in. A doe came into it, and I whacked her at 20 yards. So it was, right. So there's definitely something to the vanilla smell. You add apple to that, and it just becomes a compounding attractant. It seems to me like it should. Like any good inventor, with Thomas Edison, the light bulb, they have to try these things 1,000 times before they find success. You had just mentioned that it took you time to develop this through trial and error and failures. And can you kind of tell us about some of the test trials that you ran and what you decided to change along the way?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, one thing that we've done, because, when it comes down to it, to the people that are listening, I mean, you can buy flavors and you can buy basically anything you want to create. But one thing I wanted to do, I wanted to be different. I knew if I was going to do this, I didn't want I didn't want to emulate someone else's product, and also I didn't want them to sort of copy what I'm doing. So we got creative, and it's really, like I said, the Lord just blessed me because I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and my family could tell you that. But when it come to this, those 2 years that I failed, what happened was, Jay, is I walked into a co-op there in Kansas and wanted some apple corn, and they said, well, we don't have none made, but what you can do is go ahead and buy the pallet of corn, a ton of it, which is what I was getting, and you can put this to it and this apple flavor to create it. So later that day, I'm sitting in a tree stand, and I'm thinking, and there goes back to what we was talking a while ago about my father. And I started thinking, I said, deer react to that, but here's where I'm at. Before then, I kept on getting upset, because out in Kansas, I mean, you're hunting, the wind changes directions, and you don't know, it just gets frustrating. And I had a couple of good deer that particular year and the year before, actually, that winded me. And so it just dawned on me, just like a light went off, like you just said. So I remember taking my dead down wind bottle, my wind checker bottle, and I emptied that powder they had in it, and I took what I got from that co-op and put in it. And what was pretty neat is I could sit there and I could puff it, and even though the deer did not react to that like I wanted, but I did get some curiosity there. So then I went back, and keep in mind, I'm there for a whole month, so I had a chance to go back, and I made some calls, and then I started looking for something to add to it, because that first year is way too strong. Mm. What we got, it's way too strong. So a deer is what they call neophobic to a strange smell. It sort of alarms him, so it's not, from a common standpoint, it just didn't work. Then you got a lot of companies out there that's, and you might not know it, but when you buy it, they got what they call fillers. Well, you got a lot of artificial stuff.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff on the shelf now that's got artificial in it. And I've tried those products from kaolin to dextrose to silica as a filler. And even though by using those, I did get somewhat of some success from it, mm-hmm. but the closer they got, it didn't work. Then how I would share the secret with you, but then I would have to come up there and tie you up for the next 10, 20 years. We've created a filler. It's a natural filler. And I had to work with a company to actually design and do some changes, which was pretty cool. And we've created a filler that no one's got. I mean, this probably can't be, it could be duplicated, but it would be hard to do. So back in 2012, we went out to Kansas again. And this is amazing. And you can go to my website and look at a video of a buck that came off of a doe from a good friend of mine. And first time he ever used it. And that particular hunt, 3 out of the 5 hunters that week killed a deer by using that product that year. And that video is the first video we ever got on camera, and still today the best video we got of a buck coming in from 100 yards with his nose in the air to 5 yards to the tree, leaving a hot doe. So that video speaks for itself. And then, of course, I told you a while ago that night, my same friend screamed out Vapple, and from that point on, here's where we at. So it's been an amazing ride so far.
See, that's really cool, is that it's not just throwing a bunch of stuff in a bottle and calling it something, throwing a sticker on it.
No, this is not something that I put together. I make a living. I've been self-employed all my life, and I've got another business. This here is something I love. It was something that we were going to test the water slowly, and I was not just going to go out there and just do like some guys do and try to make $1 off a person. If I was going to sell this, I was going to make sure, because what I want people to realize, I was a hunter before Vapple.
Right. And
the problems they have now is the same problem as I had then and still have now. But that's why I created Vapple, is I wanted to be able to, if a buck got downwind from me or a doe, I wanted that animal to be at ease, and that scent early, and we can talk about it later, but early season, especially when it's hot, that scent will cover your smell. It's been proven. And I want that animal to just be relaxed. And then, the way Vapple is used, in which when you get to that question, I can explain to you how Vapple works and what it was designed to actually do and what we're doing with other products. But right now, to be honest with you, Jay, I don't know of anybody that's got what we got in the bottle. It's pretty cool.
Right. I have to be honest. When I heard the word a couple of years ago, I didn't know what it was, but it sounded interesting. Now I'm starting to understand what it is, and we very rarely go to products as the topic of a show unless it's a unique product that we think could be a game-changing, industry-changing type product.
Right.
So that's where I see Vapple right now. I do believe this is a game changer. It's different. There's been thought, and this is exactly what I love about this particular situation, is that you put thought into this. You put trial and error. You experimented. You failed in many aspects and corrected, and went on like a good entrepreneur would, like a good inventor would, and this is where you are today. So under that premise, this deserves its own show, basically, is what it comes down to.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I want to get into what you have to offer as far as the products in your catalog, how to use them, because I'm sure you've learned a lot about how to use these things as you've gone along with your trial and errors.
Yeah, when I created the Vapple formulation, that's the whole deal. Was this? We didn't go together like we mentioned. We talked just then. We didn't go out there and just put something together. We actually formulated a product. You got a flavor and you've got a filler, and what we did, we also changed some formulations in that flavor somewhat. Now, the reason behind Vapple, and when I'm sitting there talking to people, whether it's at a trade show, at the ATA show, or customers on the phone, ideally, the beauty about this is our 1 pound bag we got 4 flavors. We've got apple, we got persimmon, we got white oak, and we got sweet corn. And we are going to introduce this year. I was going to wait, actually, but I can't wait no longer. But we're going to introduce a red apple, and it's different. It's going to be unbelievable to what it's going to do for us attracting deer. But the 1 pound bag treats up to a half a ton of feed. Now, going back to what I was telling you a while ago, the dextrose and the silica and all that, it's a good filler, but it's 100% airborne. Therefore, when I was sitting there puffing that bottle, every bit of it was airborne. All right, when I created my formulation finally and got it down, my filler now is an absorbent. So therefore, it's able to take that flavor and to make it to where it can treat a lot of feed. But the beauty about it is once you mix in that 1 pound bag, what I suggest people to do is take it 1 ounce per 50 pounds. 4 ounce bottle would treat 250 pound feeder. Get deer acclimated to that smell. And I tell people all the time, you don't have to use a lot of it. I mean, they're going to eat corn. Best attractant, best feed on the market, bar none. Okay, we know that. The key is get deer associate that smell with food. That's all I'm trying to do here was get them to associate that smell with food. All right, so come hunting season, let's say early season, you take in our liquid bottle, which, by the way, the liquid formulation is the same identical formulation as the powder. That's unlike anything in the industry, and you won't find that. So walking in, you can spray yourself down. You can spray the foliage going in, spray your ladder going up the stand, whatever. Also, you can take our 4 ounce wind checker bottle, and while you're walking, it's just let it puff going all the way in. And here's the reason why I created Vapple, which I mentioned a while ago, was that wind checker bottle. That's the whole creation behind it, because I'm in a tree stand, you're in a tree stand, and let's say that here comes a buck of a lifetime, and he's been eating at your corn pile, you got him on camera, okay, but he's decided he's going to get downwind of you, and you sit there and you're puffing that wind checker bottle. All right, now, because of my formulation, 80% of it is airborne. The other 20% are actually particles that has absorbed that flavor, and it's fallen to the ground around you or on the foliage around you, in the tree, on your clothes, whatever. It's absorbed that flavor. So you've got a good scent cover going on. So if this buck gets downwind of you and he smells that, he's not going to be alarmed. He's going to associate that smell with food. And that's what we want. And people say, well, I've heard all kind of stuff, but I'll tell you what, you take an empty bucket going through a big old field with Texas Longhorns, and you rattle that bucket and see what happens. You're going to have them Longhorns stomp you and come after you. Right. I know for a fact, because I had to jump 5 foot hurdle over a barbed wire fence when they charged me.
I like seeing that.
Well, and that's what I got. You got to explain to people. I mean, deer associate smell with food, and you can actually get to a point where you actually can tame deer. We got a guy up in Atlanta that's had wild deer for the last 2 years feeding Vapple. Now he's got them eating out of his hand almost. Crazy. But the whole purpose behind Vapple is so you get them to associate that smell with food. And so when they smell it, one or two things are going to happen, in my opinion. They're going to smell it, and they're going to just be at ease and can continue doing what they're doing, or more than likely they're going to come in because they associate that smell with food, and it's feeding time to them. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, having said that, goes back to the video on the website where the buck has never smelled Vapple before, never had him on camera. This buck comes in 95 yards off of a hot doe to 5 yards to the tree. He has never smelled it, but he associated that smell to him food. That's just one of hundreds of people in the last 4 years has said that that's happened to them. And we got videos, and they are, everything's the same. They come to the base of the tree, and they're sniffing out the ground trying to find those particles, which, by the way, I mentioned a while ago, that absorb that smell. They're trying to find something on the ground to eat because it's holding that smell. So that's why I'm excited about it. I mean, I get blown away every time. I try, to be honest with you, Jay, I try to hunt against the wind. I want to, because we got a camera guy. I got Jay in the tree with me, or Casey, my son, filming, trying to get this stuff to prove to people, because that's the best proof to me is on video.
I want to take a little bit and run through some of the products and how to correctly use them in the woods.
Okay.
Let's get into the bona fide, the whitetail Vapple attractant.
The attractant, again, or I should say when I did this, again, I didn't want to be another attractant on the shelf. There's, my gosh, this industry, especially my line of products, is just saturated with what we're doing. So our attractant is different. Now, there are some great attractants out there on the shelf. No doubt about it. I used them, but our attractant is 24% protein, 10% fat, and I don't mind telling you what it is, because we're fortunate enough to get it at a great price. But it's pure bean meal. It's extruded bean meal, and we got ground up corn, and we got our mineral, which we'll discuss in a minute, in with it. And because I can tell you that because that's great, but our Vapple formulation is in with it, so I know no one can duplicate that, so I don't have no problem telling you. And the reason why it's unique is the fact that it's 80% extruded bean meal. The nearest thing I found on the market, and someone might can prove me wrong, but the nearest thing I found was like 25% extruded bean meal because it's so expensive and it's hard to find someone to make it. But it's hard to find a 24 protein, 10 fat, and also a high percentage of minerals that we put in it. So, and it's an oily fat, by the way. This is where I got different. If you buy the bag, it says apple flavor. Actually, there's another flavor involved there, and it's our apple persimmon combination that we worked on. But when you got an oily fat on top of a extruded bean meal, which everything is a lot of grease, I guess that's the proper word, but it's real oily, not grease, but not like bacon grease, but you know what I mean.
It's like chicken wings for deer.
Yeah, chicken wings. Yeah. So
chicken wings for deer.
So
stupid.
You know, a lot of your attractants, they go with a non-oily fat due to the fact, and if you open up their bags, you got a great aroma. Well, that's because there's no absorbance there. Our attractant supplement it absorbed that flavor. We added a lot of product, Vapple our flavors to that, but all it did was absorb it. And I was concerned about it at the first, but now I'm thankful because what has happened is our Vapple formulation is embedded as far as a taste now. And truth be known, our attractant sells in our 20-pound bags and our 5.5-pound bags, which is the same product, is one of our best sellers. More and more people are using it, especially your year-round feeders that are plantation guys and people that like to create some monster deer. They are putting it in their troughs and seeing excellent results.
So the Vapple, the Bonafide is just a open, pour, and go.
It's a feed. Yeah, it's a pour and go. I mean, we put the 5.5-pound bag on the shelf due to the fact that it's, you got a place, you're going to hunt for a week or 3 days or whatever. That 5.5 pound would do its job.
Gotcha.
And easy to carry in. And so it's our 20-pound bags, of course, will do the same, but we created that bag for your guys that want to feed deer year round.
Gotcha. Give us a rundown of a price range on the 20-pound bag.
20-pound bag is $19.99. The 5.5-pound bag is $9.99. You bang for your buck is a 20-pound bag, don't get me wrong. Problem with the 20-pound bag for you guys, if you ordered it, shipping is going to eat you alive. And so right now we're trying to, we can service pretty much the southern part of the state, southeastern part. We got dealers down here that we actually got a lot of dealers this past year where we can take product to them and service our people. But shipping 20-pound bag, man, it's crazy how expensive it gets.
Right, yeah, for sure. No doubt about that. Okay, let's get into the Vapple powder.
All right, that's our 1-pound bag. And what's in the 1-pound bag is in the same bottle. It's in the 4-ounce. I mean, it's the same product. So our 1-pound bag would treat up to a half a ton of feed. Our white oak acorn. Did I give you guys some acorn to try? Remember what I sent you to try out?
I don't recall seeing acorn.
Oh my gosh!
I think you sent me the acorn, actually. Yes.
Okay, I'll make sure you get some. The acorn we had from the beginning. The problem I had from the beginning is I couldn't get my liquid and my powder to match, and I always couldn't. I lost nights sleeping because of that. Actually, I ain't gonna lie to you. But this past year, I said, we're going to spend what we got to spend. We're going to do what it takes to get a liquid acorn and a powder acorn to match. Guys, I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing from testing it last fall in Missouri and Kansas what the acorn is doing. It's so strong. But why I brought up acorn and also sweet corn. Sweet corn is going to probably be one of our best sellers this year as well. But those particular bags, I would say for your customers listening, I would say use them 2 flavors for around 800 pounds due to the fact the flavor itself, when we created it, weighs heavier than the persimmon and the apple. So, it weighs out at 1 pound, but it's not as much volume in a bag. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. And you're saying like 800 pounds of corn then?
Yeah, 800 pounds of corn, which is still good for, it's $15.50 a bag, $15.50 a bag, and it treats up to 800 pounds. Now, your persimmon and apple will treat at least 1,000 pounds or more.
Gotcha. That's quite a bang for your buck, when you do the figuring on how many pounds that'll treat.
Oh, ain't no doubt. I tell you, the actual guy that created Khmer deer, he actually lives in Southwest Georgia. I met him at a show, and he told me, don't stray away from corn and soybeans. That's your deer's two main food sources.
Right.
And so we know, like I said a while ago, corn is a deer's favorite food. So I wasn't going to stray from it. And but yeah, when you can treat that much feed with that flavor to get to what we're trying to achieve from a deer stand, it's a good deal, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Talking from experience on feeding a lot of corn per year, I go through several tons of shelled corn, and $15.50 to treat 800 pounds. That's a drop in the hat. That's nothing.
Exactly, and like I said, the 4-ounce bottle is the bottle that you use from your tree stand.
And that's the wind checker.
That's the wind checker, and if it empties, you can take the 1 pound bag and just fill it up. It's the same product.
Gotcha. So okay, that's making sense now. You're actually taking the powder, Vapple powder that you're coating your corn with, and using it as a wind checker.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Now you understand why I'm saying when a deer smells that wind checker, he's associating that smell with food.
Yeah, that makes sense. So just it's something that they're used to if they're already hitting the corn coated pile.
Correct. That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's get into a little bit of the mineral, the Vapple deer mineral.
Vapple deer mineral. I got a good buddy of mine when I was out in Kansas. We sat there and we've formulated the mineral, and since then I've done some changes to it. Nothing major, but I wanted to lower the salt content, which we were already pretty low. We were in the low 40s. And when you come to, there's more minerals out there than you can shake a stick at. But again, I didn't want to be a glorified attractant as far as a mineral. We've got enough of those out there. My whole purpose with the mineral was I wanted to create antler growth and create a good herd, healthy herd. So our mineral right now is less, probably close to 40%, give or take a few, and we got a high calcium, phosphorus percentage in our mineral, along with one of the best smelling flavors that you're going to find. Our mineral is, because it is so saturated in the market, and there are some great minerals out there, don't get me wrong, but there's only a handful of minerals that I would suggest people buy. And what you look at for as a consumer is, the first thing I would look at would be the salt content, sodium. If you've got anything over 50, 55, 60% sodium, you're not trying to grow antlers. You're just trying to attract deer. The deer like the salt, but you can't go too low in salt because then it becomes real bitter to them, and you got to have the sodium there. But our antlers, and again, we got some proof on our Facebook page, and I hope all your listeners will like our page and see some of our pictures. But we've got a deer, Jay, that at 2.5-year-old, he was 125 inches, up in Illinois. Ever since he dropped his horns 2 years ago, he has been eating nothing but our attractant supplement along with our mineral. And basically the way we're feeding him is we're mixing it in, because both of them are granular. So we're in a trough, he's eating 60 pounds of our attractant, and then we're taking a 7.5 pound bag of mineral and we're blending it. That's all he's ate now for 2 years. Now, keep in mind, a 2.5-year-old, he was at 125. And when that 3.5-year-old, he was in the mid-50s. He grew right at 30-something inches in 1 year. All right. This year, if you look at the pictures of him on Facebook, he's probably going to be close to the high 60s or even in the low 70s already. You can tell his massive growth. But that's what our mineral will do. And
so you're saying 30 to 40 inches per year additive.
Well, he grew 30 inches. I know he went from 125 to a low to mid 50s in 1 year. So yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Wow. Yeah, that's for sure some phenomenal antler growth.
Yeah, and the beauty about it is I was that guy before now. Hey man, don't tell me, show me. So we had to document it, and we wanted to make sure people didn't think we were pulling their leg. But we got all that on Facebook. in video and also pictures.
What's the price on the mineral, real quick?
The mineral is $12.50 a bag for 7.5 pounds.
So 7.5 pounds for $12.50. Good deal.
Yep, that's a good deal.
Tell us about the Vapple cover spray.
All right, the liquid formulation. This is this is one product. This is a product that is really saturated. You can about go anywhere and you'll see liquid because it's so easy to make. I mean, come on, you can go get it made anywhere. But the key to our liquid is it does match our powder. When it comes to Vapple, which is a key element in our success, because you actually can take the liquid and actually just mist it from your tree stand and duplicate or replace it the wind checker because it's so strong. And we use it to spray down with our clothes. We use it for the bathroom like we mentioned earlier, and all kind of things, air freshener. But anyway, the cover spray is the whole purpose. I did not want, like I mentioned a while ago, we started out with a white acorn I didn't like because the liquid I couldn't match the powder. Now, if you buy, for example, persimmon powder and you buy our liquid to a deer, I did not want 2 persimmon flavors, him smelling or animal smelling. I want it to be the same formulation. So that's pretty unique. Again, we're the only ones that I know of that's got that type of system to where you got a liquid and a powder that matches.
Gotcha.
And it sells. And I tell you, and based on, and I've done some research on, and for a 16-ounce bottle, we sell that for $10.25. And most people are selling 8-ounce bottles for that price. So we've got we're not trying to make a killing off our customers. We just want to be successful.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. No, it makes sense totally. Let's get into a little bit about the scent-free laundry detergent and body wash. That's another line of product that Vapple offers.
Dude, I am stoked about this. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had a guy call me last year. He said, "Look," and I would tell you the name. He said, and it's probably the biggest name in the hunting industry. He said, "Look, these people backed out of carrying our products because there was 2 big names in it trying to make a profit, and the price was so high on the retail end, it just didn't sell." All right, so he came to me and said, "Look, we would like for Vapple to carry our product." And this is, and I sat down with him up in Atlanta, had a long conversation with him because I really didn't know a lot about UV. I didn't know how I just didn't never pay any attention to it until I talked with him. But our scent elimination, which by far, it's amazing how time you bring up every product I sell, and I'm telling you, this market's flooded with it. But this is another product, another line, another SKU that there's hundreds of people out there for scent elimination. Here's what I can tell you, and I'm gonna be, I'm from the South, okay? Scent elimination. Anybody that makes it, if you come into South Georgia early season when it's 80 degrees and telling me that it's going to make you scent free, I'm going to have a hard time believing that because I'm here to tell you it don't work. Okay, I sell it and I'm telling you it don't work. That's why I know we're going back to the flavors that does work early season for sure. Now, scent elimination, when it gets pretty cool and the weather's nice and comfort outside, scent elimination will work. Now, the beauty about ours is it's a UV and a scent elimination in one bottle, a 2-in-1 product.
So it's eliminating the UVs too then?
Yeah. I mean, it's what you do is, Jay, is you take your clothes, you spray them down, set them outside to activate the UV in the sunlight for about an hour or 2. But it'll last you for a week and a half. I mean, it takes the UV out of your clothing. And what I tell people to do, and I did it, I took a black light I bought from Walmart, went in my room and took all my hunting clothes out, and I just shined that black light. And I would say over half my clothes glow blue. Mm-hmm. And that's what an animal sees. That's what a deer sees, and that's what a turkey sees. That's what waterfowl sees. I didn't even know a turkey could see in UV 2-color spectrum until we started doing some research on this. But now it explains why dusty turkeys are, every time I'm thinking I'm going to get one to fall, they run like crazy. Ask Josh about it.
You think it's your clothes, huh?
Ask Josh what happened to him in Kansas, and he'll tell you it was because of the UV glow in that tent we had him in spooked those birds. It's amazing. Yep, no question. But But anyway, like I said, we got the only product on the shelf. It's a 2-in-1 product. So you spray it down, you're completely eliminating your scent, and it's designed to kill bacteria and also new odors from forming. Everybody's got their own little spiff about how their product does this. Most all scent eliminations do the same thing. I mean, that's the bottom line. It's nothing. You got silvers out there, and you've got other stuff that you can add to it, but basically they all do the same purpose. But ours is a little different with the fact that UV's in it, and no one's got that. So we're pretty unique in that area as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense though. Not only do you have the Vapple scent eliminating or scent and UV eliminating cover spray, but you've taken it to the next step where that you're into scent eliminating hair and body wash along with laundry detergent, and the laundry detergent's got the UV coverage in it, so it eliminates the UVs right in the laundry detergent. Man, that's some phenomenal product that offers you more bang for your buck again.
Jay, I tell you, if you had 100 hunters in a room with us, 75 of them would want to be scent free instead of smelling like an apple or persimmon. I get that, and that's one reason why we created. Why not? I mean, we're in the scent business, so I was telling Jay and Case, I said, hey guys, let's go ahead and this is an opportunity that fell in our lap. Let's go ahead and take advantage of it because now we're reaching 100% of the hunting market. I mean, everybody's going this year. Every hunter is going to buy some laundry detergent, hair and body wash. So why not have a part of that and give them a great price with a great product? And those hunters that don't want to buy the liquid cover scent in our flavors, well, we've got a product now that is as good as anything on the shelf, and now you've got also something to eliminate the UV. Because here's the whole deal with the UV. You never know. What if it's that one time, that the buck of a lifetime comes out, and you're up there and he spots, you glowing like a blue light. What if it's that one time that you had the opportunity to harvest that animal because you were eliminating your clothing as far as shyness and UV? So that's where we're at.
Gotcha. Kelvin, just so you know, you've been with Dusty since we started talking about products.
Well, I wonder where he was at, man.
I've been with you the whole ride here. You keep saying Jay, and I'm
like,
what the hell? But yeah, back on track here. Give us a price tag on the Vapple scent and UV eliminator cover spray. What we'll be talking price wise there.
The 24-ounce bottle. I didn't want to go with a 16-ounce. Actually, if you get to know me, I'm a real I'm ADD and I'm OCD. I'm any kind of DD you want to think of, but I did not want my customers to buy a 16-ounce bottle. I wanted them to have enough in that bottle like I would. I look at everything I buy or everything I make as would I buy it, and you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to go a 24-ounce bottle, and it's selling for I think you put me on the spot here. If I'm not, I think I'm at $10.99 a bottle, which is a great price.
$10.75.
$10.75, okay. And our laundry detergent is $13.99 for 32 ounce. I didn't want to go, that. When it comes to packaging, guys, you got a lot of choices to make, and I can, give you an idea. There's all type of packaging for laundry detergent. You can get real fancy and get these drain back bottles like your wife's got in her laundry room now, and spend $80 to $1 per bottle, if not more. But how many hunting? I was telling a buddy of mine the other day, I said, how many people's in hunting camp sit around and look and say, hey, man, you ain't got a drain back on that laundry detergent. We don't care about that,
Yeah, it makes sense.
So when it comes to packaging, I try to be very conservative, but also have a good look and something that I know that will fit well in packaging, as far as backpacks or a guy's totes or whatever he's got as far as packaging his clothing. Right. But it's $13.99, and our hair and body wash is $9.99, I believe.
And it looked like you guys had a package deal. If you want to buy all three, it looks like you could package them up and ship out one package of all three products.
Yeah, I mean, if one guy's going to buy one, he's going to buy all three typically, and we save him about $4 when he does that. And also on our Vapple package with our flavors, we save them also about $4 when they buy all three. Because going back to that, if you're going to buy a 1 pound bag to be successful with Vapple, in my opinion, you're going to need the wind checker and the liquid. It's just all three on both packages is a necessity to be successful, in my opinion. So we thought we'd just create a package for our customers and save them some money at the same time.
Yeah, right on, for sure. Let's get into, tell us about the, you guys had a little Vapple, the Beast blind. What is that?
I got a good buddy of mine, not too far from me. And last year he created this blind. His name is Tim Moore. He owns actually Beast 48 golf carts. And I was up there one day getting my golf cart worked on and getting it vaporized and getting some colors, some bling bling put on it. And he showed me this blind. And right when I saw it, I said, "Dude, you got you something right there." And it's really, before I even had anything to do with it, I said that right there is going to be a big seller. Well, this past year I get a phone call and he says, "Man," he said, "I just need some help. I don't have time to mess with it." He said, "We sold some last year, and would you be interested in marketing it and packing, doing whatever you got to do?" He said, "I want you to just take it over." And I didn't hesitate, and we did some modification and some changes to it. And guys, there is. I can't tell you. We about sold out already, but this is a one-of-a-kind hunting blind. Here's what we got. We got a lifetime warranty on it. It's 108 inches long by 48 wide, which will cover any double, single ladder stands on the market. It's washable, windproof, waterproof, and more importantly, and here's the whole key to me, and this is from a hunter, not a guy who actually is selling it, but from a hunter standpoint, it's portable. How many times in my life have I bought tie straps and burlap and went out there and every year at the end of the year I just throw it away, just throwing away money. These things right here, like I said, I got a lifetime warranty. It's military grade clips that actually clip around your bar, and when you get through, if you want to take it off, go to another stand, it folds back into the bag. The actual bag is a pocket. Once you unfold it, it becomes a pocket for you on the inside, put all your stuff in. And then when you decide to take it down, you just push it all back in that pocket and then you just put it in your backpack. It's a pretty cool idea, actually. One of a kind. And it's right now, all of our dealers, we're making another batch of them as we speak. Very
cool. Yeah, sounds like a great product. Be very beneficial to the hunters.
Well, it's not a cheap product. It's very well made. It's made here in Georgia. I looked online, of course, like I always do. I try to find something comparable to it. And the nearest thing I found comparable to it, which is Velcro, they sold for like $44 and nowhere near the length or the height. And we're retailing these right now for $49.95 up until probably about mid-July. We're going to offer free shipping on those. But for $49.95, you've got something that you never have to worry about buying another one. So
gotcha. Good deal. Yeah. Just something real quick here. I was cruising through VappleProducts.com and just reviewing some of the testimonials and just doing my research on Vapple and just seeing what the people had to say, And one in particular caught my attention. There's a young boy that's in a wheelchair and looks like he's laying on the ground when I looked at it. And he said something in the nature of, I'm in a wheelchair and I usually hunt rifle. This season I decided to try archery, and thanks to Vapple, I was able to bring a doe in and shoot it at 20 yards. That's a cool story there.
Yeah, that's, I'm going to get emotional now, guys. You didn't touch a nerve. But yeah, that's, besides Vapple, that's my passion is taking kids. But anyway, you're going to have to make Jay step in here for a second.
That's all right, man. That just tells us that,
there's a story behind that, guy. So,
this tells us that your heart's in it, Kelvin. Yeah, that's the story. We understand
that particular hunt. So, yep. But yeah, there's some, that's what's cool about it. And I'm just, like I said, I'm humbled the fact that you get calls from people from anywhere and everywhere. And they say, man, this stuff works. To me, that motivates me to even go even farther because, when you get those reviews, I don't know those people and they buy it from wherever and whenever. And for them to say, man, this stuff works, I feel like I've done something right. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. That just makes your hard work and your dedication to your business it kind of makes the heart warm, and your hard work always pays off.
Yep. Yep.
Very cool. Tell us real quick. We're going to get into a whitetail hunt with Jay here in a minute, but tell us where that we can find the product.
Right now, when we get through setting up our dealers, as of right now, we're going to have about 65 dealers nationwide, mainly in the southeast Georgia, just about anywhere in Georgia that's got a reputable dealer. That's another thing is we just don't go into any and every store and have them carry our product. They're going to be a reputable store that represents us. Matter of fact, we don't even set up a dealer unless they try our product. And that's just we look at Vapple as a high tier product, not a low shelf, but what's that thing? Top shelf tequila. We're like a top shelf tequila. We're a top shelf attractant, and so for them
it's like chicken wings for deer.
Chicken wings for deer, correct?
Oh, boy.
But we take higher standards in our dealers, and we do a lot for our dealers. But anyway, having said that, we're right now going into Alabama. We got some great dealers over there, Graybow Outdoors in Birmingham area, and Big Daddy's up near Chattanooga, and all, like I said, all of Georgia, South Carolina, got some great dealers there. Some, Sportsman's Warehouse. That's one of our first box stores that has taken us on, and I'm real thankful and blessed for them.
Gotcha.
And we got some bigger box stores, Jay, coming down the pike. That's there again. We're not going. If I can't produce it, manufacture it, and distribute it like we should, we actually turn down a pretty good sized deal because I'm just not in a position yet to handle that kind of volume. Now next year is a different story. We got some stuff coming down the pike that's really exciting that Lord's blessed us without a shadow of a doubt, and some things that's happened. I don't believe in just coincidence, and some things that's happened that Lord's had his hand on in this business, but some good things are coming. But right now, Jay, if you live in New Hampshire where there's plentiful deer and everything, and not like what they are in Ohio with Dusty.
Right.
But hey, Dusty, we do have some dealers in Ohio, by the way.
Good deal.
But you're gonna have to order online, Jay.
Gotcha. Where can we go online? Tell us a little bit about what you got going. If we're not in Georgia or Ohio, where can we find your product?
Go to www.vappleproducts.com and go to our website, click on the store, and we've got all of our products listed there with a description. We've got our catalog is on our website to where you can go through and browse. We also got pics and videos, some awesome pics and videos, and you can send me messages through Facebook if you got questions, or through email, whatever. But right now, until we get where we need to be, like I said, this is our 4th year, and we tested the waters for the first couple of years, and now we're in it neck deep. We're in it for the long haul now.
I mean, the stuff is awesome, and I'm starting to get to understand and learn a little bit more about the product. As a prerequisite on this show, you have to tell a great deer story. So, and I gave you the setup before in the pre-chat show, so I'm sure you've been thinking about it. But it seemed like you had one that came to mind right away. So, what I'd like to do, Kelvin, I'd like you to take us on a deer hunt, tell us a good story, and walk us through this hunt play by play as though it's in slow motion, so that the listeners can really grasp on and feel like they're sitting on your shoulder watching this thing unfold. So,
all right.
Where are we going?
2010, Leroy, Kansas, November 2nd through the 19th, I spent in Kansas hunting. Actually, I got there at Halloween, set out cameras and put up my sets, I think it was 14 sets, normally what I put up, and just me by myself hunting. I had some buddies coming into 18th to hunt. So, by the way, testing Vapple. That was the year to where I was in the process of testing, and I got a buck on camera. It's the biggest deer I've ever had opportunity to get on camera. It was and I'll tell you about it here shortly. But anyway, for 18. And that's what I did when I was out in Kansas. When I found a buck I wanted to hunt, I would set multiple stands, and back then, of course, play the wind, and that's the deer I hunted, and I didn't leave him. And I stayed on this deer for from the 2nd to the 18th, 16 days. The first encounter with him, he came in after dark, and I shot and missed him. All right. We're hunting on a cornfield, and I got to stand on the east side of it and the west side along the same tree line. And the wind was, if the wind wasn't right one day, I'd go up the other one. But he was visiting both spots back and forth. And so the next evening, full moon, I'm hunting the east stand. First, the night before, I shot him and missed him in the west stand. So the east stand, I hunted that night, didn't see him, but I'm walking out because I figured he wouldn't shut back up the same spot, But anyway, here I am walking out, full moon, and there he is. It's dark, and I can see him in the full moon. And I kneel down, and he comes to me. He starts walking to me, actually. It's about 15 yards. Really had me questioning myself if was that a good decision to sit there or should have hit the brush. But anyway, he boogered. And so the next night, so I played cat and mouse with this deer for 16 days, 32 hunts. I in a lot of hours. We're talking days. Even though it's on a cornfield, there was some timber behind it to where they like to move during the middle of the day. So out of those 16 days, 14 days were all day hunts. I gave it all. All right. On the 16th day, hunting the east, I'm hunted all day. I'm sitting there. I hunted the east stand. At 4 o'clock, bow's hanging up. I'm not ready. I'm on the phone probably. Who knows what I was doing? Probably eating a bag of chips. Who knows? But make a long story short, I wasn't ready. And, at 4 o'clock, here he comes. He's walked 5 yards out in front of me, to my left, walked around in front of me, come to the bait pile that we had. At that time, I had vanilla mixed in. That's what he was eating on was vanilla. And the beauty about that is when he came around, the wind was out of the south, and I was hunting. I was facing north, so the wind was at my back. And because I knew that's where the deer were coming. And I thought I'd get an opportunity to shoot one before they got in front of me. But make a long story short, he come around in front of me, and I actually had, at that time, it actually worked on this particular occasion because I was sitting there puffing while I was still setting. My bow was still hanging in the tree, and so I'm puffing this vanilla just enough to put it in the air, and I put it back in my pocket. I grabbed my bow, and guys, I stood up, and I draw back. Now, he is facing me, okay? So if he looks up, he sees me. He wasn't no broadside shot, but he looks up. When I pull back, he looks up at me, and I'm panicking. This deer, well, I'll tell you what he scored because he's 194 inches and some change, okay?
Right.
194-inch buck. He has stuff coming off of him. He's crazy. Beautiful deer. So I'm telling you, I'm right now, and I think I peed on myself where I had to. Because I remember I called my buddy and I said, man, I'm soaking wet. But and it probably might do some sweat as well. But anyway, when I pulled back, he looked up. Because this is what you get. You get that fever, man, just overcame me. And I said, I'm going to just shoot him. I could have gave him time to turn, but I said, I'm going to shoot him because he ain't the 15 yards. I'm going to shoot him down his back, down his spine, which was stupid. But so when I pulled back, he looked up, and now I don't have a back shot. So in my mind, I said, all right, shoot him now in the chest. Well, my mind said shoot him in the chest, but my brain also didn't drop the bow. So when I released, the air hit his antlers. It sounded like you throw a baseball into a side of a tin building, and just da-da-da-da,
Right.
Anyway, dude, I cried like a baby. Literally, I was in tears because y'all know what I'm getting at. 16 days, most 14 out of the 16 all-day hunts, and here It is. It finally happened. All right, that's not even That's not the kicker. No, that's not the kicker. Here's the kicker. The next day, I got to get back home to my wife. She's fitting to file papers and leave me. I got to get home. And buddy of mine comes in, never has killed a deer in his life with a bow. Never has hunted out of state. I put out 2 tons of corn in this cornfield. That's 4,000 pounds of corn in a cornfield already. He ain't put out a 50-pound bag yet. And he says, I had to go. He said, where do I need to hunt? I said, hunt this west stand right here. There's a good deer in here. I said, I doubt he's back because I shot him in the antlers, blah, blah, blah. Well, I leave. That's about 2 o'clock. At 9 o'clock that night, I'm somewhere in St. Louis, and I get this call. And his name was Richard, and he's out of breath. He says, man, I just killed a monster. I said, really? He said, yeah. I made it from St. Louis to my house in about 2 hours. I was like a Lear jet. I was so upset. But anyway, he sent me pictures. I was happy for him. But there again, every time I see him, I think about the deer and want to punch him in the mouth. But I mean, he is a close friend. But anyway, he's a 194-inch buck, guys. Wow. And so I wish I had a funny story to tell you. If that was what you was looking for, I'm sorry I didn't have it. But that was now I got to go. It's going to take me 2 days to recover from telling that story.
Right. Well, deer stories come in all flavors and sizes and shapes and endings and twists, and that's what we love about them. So, that's just part of the hunt, and that's why we ask to tell the story, because they don't all end exactly how you want them to end. Yeah. That's life.
Well, the most successful hunt, I'll tell you this real quick. Give me about 2 minutes. Me and a good friend of mine who passed away this year, Mike Wise, he and I were in Kansas. And we went to a place where we knew a deer was bedded. The wind was coming out of the east. We knew he's bedded in the west, timber. We purposely went in there to work to prove Vapple, and we went out and put our 20-pound bag of Attractant out. We got all this on video, which is on the website as well. It shows me putting out the bag at 3 o'clock and walk over to the stand. Mike's already up there filming it. I climb up there. We're sitting down. I ain't got a chance to get my glasses off yet. And we had a small buck come in, which we didn't get him on video. But at 3 o'clock, at 3:20, we called him Mark. He had a mark on his side, so, anyway, I know that's bland, but his name was Mark. Anyway, at 3:20, he comes out, and I shoot him, downwind, and it's just a perfect video to prove what Vapple does because this deer's bedded at 3 o'clock. But typically, he had no reason to get up and come straight to that bait pile. I mean, that just didn't happen. But anyway, that's one of the most successful hunts with Vapple. And that was the last time I had it's a special hunt because, like I said, Mike passed. And that was the last time he and I were in a stand together where I harvested an animal. But yeah, those are those the good times and the bad times, me in the tree stand, guys.
Right. There's the memories right there.
Yeah. Well, the time I fell 20 foot, we won't bring that up either, but that's another story.
Hey, gravity's a bitch, as I like to say.
Yeah. Tell that to my back, too. Yeah.
Yep. Hey, we had a question from a caller. I'm going to add him to the group call here, if that's all right.
Yeah.
He's been pre-screened, so let me see. Let's add him in here. Yes, is this the caller from the south?
This is the caller from the south.
All right.
JC, what's up, buddy?
What's happening? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing awesome, man. Doing awesome. I just talked to you yesterday.
Yeah, I got a surprising phone call. Said you were doing an interview.
Yeah, I'm thankful they considered me to do this. So, these guys are big time. I'm just an old boy from South Georgia,
I remember the first time they got me on an interview. I don't know if they actually knew what they were getting into, but it was a very interesting night, to say the least.
It sure was.
Yeah,
for sure.
I tell you, Vapple is very fortunate to have Josh part of their team. And I met Josh. Actually, I saw Josh when he attended his first ATA show. I was over there, and I heard this elk bugling. I thought somebody had brought in some animals to show off. And here's this black kid over here in the wheelchair just going at it. I'm talking about nailing it. And then he and I got together at Rick Caron's event that year. And, it's history from there. We bonded, and Josh is a great, great kid, and he's got a great future ahead of him. And we're just thankful and blessed to be a part of what we're just going to ride that train he's on.
Josh, tell us, Josh, I don't know if you remember, but way back when we did our first interview, you had said the word Vapple to me. You said, I use Vapple as my cover set. And I'm like, what the hell's that? Right? And then you're like, well, it's this kind of apple smelling, vanilla smelling thing. I said, it sounds awesome. I haven't heard about it. So take that, a few years ago, and here we are today. Tell us more about your experiences with Vapple.
I first got introduced to it. Rob Snyder, he introduced me to it. Kelvin introduced me to it. But me and Rob went on a hunt. We actually put it in action down in Texas. And I tell you what, you get two Southern boys in a turtle blind in the middle of 100-degree weather. We stink pretty bad. So,
man.
We started spraying it out the window. The wind checker actually was the wind checker they were using, and we threw a couple of douses out the window, and the deer come right down the trail. I mean, it was clockwork, and everything from there is history. Deer come out 13 yards and broadside. I mean, for me, that was a hard shot. I mean, 13 yards is a long way, but I was able to make it happen. And
it's got to be 20
you know.
for Josh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we heard that about turkeys too.
Well, hey, listen, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. This is a deer podcast. We're going to talk about deer.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about all them. We ain't gonna talk about this past turkey season, are we, Josh?
No, we're not gonna go there. So back to the Vapple. Let's get to the important part here. And then throughout the years, I started using it more. Started using it on my place here in Louisiana, and the results were speaking for themselves. I mean, the deer were coming to it, and they were just clockwork. And it got to the point where I got to the point where I wanted to smell like Vapple, so I started, taking showers in, and, I thought, it could give me a little browning points, give me, because what woman doesn't like apple pie? I mean, you put brown sugar and apple together, I mean, that's got to be attracted to somebody.
That's right.
Tell
them.
It didn't really work out for me that well. I mean, I don't think I put it on in the right places, but, you live and you learn. And then after that, I started growing, getting to know Kelvin a little bit more and started using more. And this past year is when I really put it to the test and found out what it was all about. I was in Tennessee, and it was August, so it was still hot. And I had went to the gym and worked out and got all sweaty. And in the afternoon, I like to go sit on the field and watch deer. So I left right from the gym and went to the field, and I actually got out and tucked in the wood line a little bit, and I sprayed down Vapple, doused, all my whole surrounding with it, and I literally got pinned down by two does at 20 yards. I mean, it was crazy. And it was 5 more in the field. One started walking to me. I think I scared the daylights out of her when she got, within 15 yards and, finally knew something wasn't right because I was swatting mosquitoes and it was pretty bad. But after that, it was getting dark and, they got out of the field. And, I did a coyote howl and I ran them out of the field. And I went back to my truck, and when I went back to my truck, I got in, and the deer come back out the trail that I was sitting on. They come right to where I was sitting, and that's where it popped out at.
Even after,
so, I mean,
even after pretending like you're a coyote, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tennessee deer. I mean, they're not hard to please,
Right. That's insane. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's just stories like that you hear and you think, that's just crazy. But, I mean, that's just Josh's story along with several others on Facebook. I mean, it's just some crazy stuff.
That's awesome.
I mean, Kelvin just posted a picture here recently. He was filling feeders, and a doe was at the feeder while he was filling it, trying to get to Vapple.
Yeah, that's my a guy up in Atlanta I was telling you about that the deer in his backyard. They're wild animals. For the last 2 years, he's been feeding them. It's gotten to the point now to where, and you can see in the picture, the trail cam, the smoke of the Vapple, the dust where the wind was taking it, and a minute later, you see the picture of the deer in with the trail cam where he's coming up to eat it when the guy's still standing there. Absolutely crazy.
Wow.
That's in 1 minute. Stuff. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
So, Kelvin, I have 10 rapid-fire questions that I want to shoot at you. And, Josh, if you want to hang on, we can chit-chat after. I just want to wrap up the show here. 10 rapid-fire questions. I did not give these to you ahead of time. So these are best off the cuff. So are you ready?
Okay.
All right. Number 1, what's your number 1 hunting tip of all time?
Number 1 hunting tip of all time. Far as scent control, I don't want to get back in the Vapple. What's the number 1 hunting tip of all time? I tell you what the number 1 hunting tip of all time is before you go hunting.
With Josh Carney?
Well, you take care of your wife, and you make sure you take her out and spend her on, buy the best meal for her and take care of her.
Come, hold up. I got to stop
That's
this.
Okay.
Kelvin, we got to stop right here. We can't be doing that. Man. I'm just aggravating you.
No, okay. Number 1 hunting tip of all time is don't make a shot that you know that you're not going to have a high success rate to harvest that deer.
Gotcha.
That's the best advice.
Okay. All right. We all have these things that we consider good luck charms. We have to have them with us when we hunt, and it drives us crazy if we leave them in the truck. What's that one thing for you?
My good luck charm is what I wear on my wrist. It says I am second, which pertains to the gospel, and just to keep me humble and know where I'm at. And plus, I got a tattoo on the other wrist that gives explanations about what Christ did for us. And those two things are my good luck charms, and that I carry with me always.
Right on. All right, you're not going to leave a tattoo in the truck. That's excellent.
Can't leave a tattoo in the truck.
That's right. All right, what's your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve is people not doing what they say they're going to do.
Gotcha. All right, so you're 48 years old now, Kelvin.
48.
What would you tell the 18-year-old Kelvin Wilcox, knowing what you know about life today?
First of all, get off the phone.
Get off the phone. All
right. And don't feel the burn. Make sure that can we go politics here or not?
Sure.
Yeah, don't feel the burn.
I want to know about this burn. You're 18. What kind of burn did you get?
Feeling the burn, man. Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, don't feel the burn.
Vermont. Right.
Yeah. 18-year-old Kelvin Wilcox. Again, do what you say what you do. The intangibles are more important than the tangibles. The intangibles are more important than the tangibles. And just be a man of your word and follow the Lord, and don't worry about what you told people, because you've told them the truth and you don't have to remember.
Excellent. All right, you're at a hunting convention and a stranger comes up to you in the lobby of the hotel and they ask, what do you do for a living? What do you tell them?
What I do for a living is I own a couple of businesses. One of them is, for the last 16 years, we've been doing commercial roof coating. And but my passion right now, the last 4 years, is Vapple products and hunting with Josh Carney.
Right on. All right. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I think I had, I didn't eat breakfast, but I've been in the shop since daylight. I ate a ham sandwich at lunch. That was it.
Okay. No, skip the breakfast, have ham sandwiches at lunch.
Yeah,
got it.
Ham sandwich at lunch.
All right. You get your own billboard. It's a white blank canvas. What would you put on it?
I don't want people to think I'm some type of religious freak, but it would be that, Matthew 6:33.
Right on. All right.
Bible verse, yeah.
Excellent. All right. If I say the word successful to you, who's the first person that pops into your head and why?
I'm going to say Phil Robertson. I got to know the Robertsons. We did some work for them, and reading Phil's book. The word successful from a business standpoint, I get it. I know what people, that's what people, when you hear the word successful, they relate to business. But Phil's more successful, not so much business related. From his work ethics that he created when he was, and I admire that. But what he stands for as a man, to me, that's successful.
Yeah, that's a good one. Very good.
Yeah.
What's a day in the life of Kelvin Wilcox look like?
I got my son-in-law, Jay Cleese, laughing at me.
Maybe we should hear Jay's version.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, I can tell you what it looks like. I got powder from my head to my toes, and we smell like apples to sweet corn. We've been making product nonstop. So we're constantly at the Vapple shop. And if we're not there, we're setting up Vapple dealers in the lower part of here of the States.
Gotcha. All right. And what's a deer hunting day in the life look like?
A deer hunting day would be, an ideal day would be about 25 degrees, no wind, Kansas morning. That would be a perfect day. That would be an all day hunt.
Gotcha. All right. So those are the 10 questions.
Okay.
Kelvin, this has been eye-opening. I really admire the way you go about developing your products and that you are thinking about the things that you're putting into your packages. And it's not just, hey, let's throw some stuff in a bag and slap a sticker on it and try to sell it. You actually put some thought and developed something that you think is worthwhile from a hunter's perspective, not just from a marketing perspective, which is important, but you came at it as a hunter.
Yeah, that's the only way I look at it, Jay, is, we were in the shop today and I was telling Jay here and, weighing out these bags and stuff, because we're fortunate enough to where if you look on social media, and there might be some more, I don't know, but as far as social media, we've only had one bad review. This is amazing, really, if you think about it. One bad review in 4 years out of, I think, 150 reviews there. But I have not had a customer call me and say, we want our money back or this didn't work. It just ain't happened. That there, I think, speaks for itself, but also it goes back to us for as credibility when it comes to what you just said. We are trying to develop. We put a lot of time. Most of all, besides the feed, we make everything in-house just about. Besides the blinds, we make it in a sewing factory, of course. I'm not a sewer. But we make it in-house because R&D is very important to me, to where if a 1 pound bag, it's going to weigh 1 pound, But today, it weighed like 1.4 ounces, and Jay said, we're going to be over. I mean, well, let it go. I want to make sure when a customer gets our product that first of all, his first thought is that company right there is, they're going to have my business for a long time. That's the bottom line. Right. And them be successful as well. And
that's exactly what I have respect for. And as the people who are hunters that are listening to the show, they'll key in on that. I think that's why you're going to be successful with this product. It's fantastic. You've got my wife's approval, you got Josh's approval, you got Dusty's approval, and it's actually one of the most unique products I've seen out there. And let's face it, a lot of the things that you have are in a saturated market, but somehow you figured out how to bust through all those layers of saturation. So congratulations on what you did, and please keep up the great work. And thank you for joining us on the Big Buck Deer Hunting Podcast.
Guys, it's been my pleasure, and thank y'all for even asking me to do this. It's been a lot of fun.
Calvin's a heck of a guy with a lot of knowledge about what he's got going on as far as the Vapple products, and man, I'm thrilled to try him out.
I have too, and I'm fascinated about the fillers and some products and how he's concentrated on all that other stuff that goes into your attractants. You have your scent, and then you have your product and the fillers that go in, and how well he's thought it out as far as even if the filler becomes saturated with smell or falls to the ground, it's still carrying the smell, and it won't be some weird smell that the deer might identify as foreign. It's always going to be some smell that deer will either identify as food or won't identify as danger.
Right, yeah, for sure. No doubt about it.
So clearly, the hunter has put thought into this, and I'm on board with Vapple. I think it's very interesting, and the story is interesting, too, about how it all developed. Very, very cool, and thank you to Kelvin for joining us on the Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast, powered by USA Trail Cams. Dusty, do we have a Chubby Tines tip of the week this week?
Yeah, we do. It's actually something I'm getting ready to go do myself. And
the Chubby Tines tip of the week is sponsored by Morse's Sporting Goods. Firearms, used firearms, bows, used bows, located at 85 Kentucky Falls Road in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. Give Jim a call at 603-464-3444, morsessportinggoods.com. Your dollars go further in New Hampshire. There's no sales tax. Morse's Sporting Goods.
That's my walking in and out trail, Jay. I like to set up 2 or 3 different escape routes to get in and out from my tree stand. One being for the wind, 2 being for scent control on different approaches, a few different times a week. I go in and I try to either weed whip down with a weed whacker, keep the foliage down where it's nice, comfortable walking for me and my equipment, and I'm not dragging myself or my linens on any tree limbs or small shrubbery or weeds. And I tried to make at least 3 entrance and exit points, one being straight behind my tree stand, one to the right or one to the left. Depending on the winds, which way is the way I kind of narrate where I'm going to go. Now, if I have deer in the field and I come down, I like to be able to go straight back behind my stand, and that's if you got access to the land behind you where you're set up at. I like to go straight behind my stand and cut out and pick up one of my trimmed up trails on about a 100-yard sweep around to where my tree stand is. Now, if I can get down and climb down my stand, go 50 yards behind it, cut around 100 yards either direction, it gives you that point where the deer don't see you come exactly from where your stand located. I've always been more comfortable if I can sweep around them 100 yards and pop out and bump them off the field. I'm okay with that. But I don't want to be climbing down my stand and walking directly out into the field or where the area that the deer might be with just introducing the knowledge of where my stand location exactly is. I'll take that for, what it's worth. You just got to be real slow and real easy when you're climbing down. If you got deer out in your fields, you take it easy, take it slow, climb down real nice and gentle, don't make no noise. The odds are if you wait till dark, they'll allow you to slip down that tree and get out of there without them ever knowing where your tree is.
That's a great tip, man. So, in other words, trim and pay attention to your entry and exit points and make it super quiet and easy so as not to alert the deer and not go through where they're typically going to be when you're going in or out.
Yeah, I've gone as far as spraying Roundup down my walking trails. That way it's bare dirt when I go in and out of there. It seems like the dirt will hold a little bit of your scent if you got something on your boots or, as you're walking. Mm-hmm. But it seems like the dirt neutralizes that scent pretty quick after you've passed by. I've literally watched deer walk right down the same trail I walked in on, and it's bare dirt, and they haven't busted me where I've been walking. So
makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Things, just the little things like that could maybe change the way your hunt ends and your end result.
I think dirt carries a lot of neutralizing particles in its contents, and also has its own smell, so it very easily covers over any smells that you might have introduced very quickly. That's a great tip, man. Very nice. Thank you to Morse's Sporting Goods for sponsoring the Chubby Tines Tip of the Week. And Dusty, where can we find you when you're not hanging out here on the mic with me?
Shoot me an email, dusty@bigbuckregistry.com. You can look me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Chubby Tines Outdoors. And I'm on Instagram @ChasingAntler. Jay, where can the people reach out to you when you're not on the mic?
Well, I have a couple of announcements to make. First, I'd like to say that within the next 7 days, you'll find our podcast on iHeartRadio. So I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They seem to be everywhere across the world. It will rival iTunes and Apple by far. So check us out on iHeartRadio in the next 7 days from when this show launched. And the other thing that's happening now is every time we produce a show, it will automatically be translated to a movie audio or an audio movie on YouTube. So if you're not an iTunes user and you're not an iHeartRadio user and you don't generally check into podcasts because you don't like the way those systems work, now you can find us on YouTube. So that's kind of cool. Other than that, you can shoot me an email, jay@bigbuckregistry.com. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/bigbuckregistry, twitter.com/bigbuckregistry. Find us on Instagram, instagram.com/bigbuckregistry. Always give us a call at 724-613-2825 and leave us a message. Give us some feedback. If you are on iTunes, leave us a review, please, and subscribe to the show. If you're on any kind of iTunes device, whether it be an Apple, iPhone, or just iTunes on your computer. Other than that, Dusty, I think that's pretty much everywhere we're at. And if you'd like to become a patron of the show, just go to bigbuckregistry.com/donate. And finally, if you would like to be famous in front of 230,000 plus diehard deer hunting fans, and you'd like to submit a buck that you shot sometime in the last decade or so, go to bigbuckregistry.com/mybuck, and all the instructions will be right there for you on how to get that buck in front of us so that we can review it, and then we'll let you know if it gets posted on our Facebook page. I think that's a wrap, Dusty.
That's a whole lot of big bucks. Thanks again for everybody for tuning in week after week, and man, we enjoy it, and we hope that you take the information that we dig into and pull out from the guest and pass it along to you guys. We hope that you use it in the field and are successful with it. Well, I'm Dusty Phillips.
And I'm Jay Scott.
This is another great episode of the Big Buck Registry Deer Hunting Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Can't wait.